Hey folks, this is the Moto G5S Plus. Yes, it's a handful of a name, judging by how many times I messed it up. So, this came a couple of days ago. I didn't really get a chance to look at it yet, but here it is. It's part of the G5 series. As you know, we've had the G5, we've had the G5 Plus, and now with the G5S Plus. Weird naming convention, not quite sure what to make of it, to be honest with you. This is a 4GB with 64GB model, which is a pretty decent amount of storage and memory. There's also a 3GB, 32GB model, so I'm kind of glad they sent me the slightly better one. And here are some of the cool things about it. It's got a 5.5-inch Full HD screen, 2 GHz octa-core processor, that would be a Snapdragon 625, dual camera system, monochrome color, very much like the Z2 Force and the Huawei phones. And then, works with all carriers. So this is actually Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T compatible in the US. So let's open it up and see what's inside the box, shall we? Dun, 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 dun. Woohoo! There it is. The Moto G5S Plus. Yeah. Let's check it out. It is a 5.5-inch phone, so it's pretty decent size. Kind of on the big side because it's a 16:9, obviously, aspect ratio. This is a mid-range phone. I think it's in the $200 to $300 price range, probably $250, $279-ish. I need to check, but basically more expensive than the Moto X4 that was recently launched or is still supposed to be launching, which I have, but you should wait to find out more about that phone. Let's open the rest of it, shall we? There's a little divider here. Says the usual Hello Moto. Moto G5 Plus, readme, and all the good stuff that goes with that. Who reads this stuff? Why do they even print this stuff? I don't know. And then there is a safety, regulatory, and legal. No earbuds. And there's a SIM removal tool. Pointy. And then the USB charger. Now this is a turbo power charger, which is kind of like a fast charge system that Moto uses. They have two different chargers, a 15 watt and a 30 watt. It started with the Moto Z last year, Z Force, Z Play. Then we got it on, I think, the G5 Plus, and then we got it on the Z2 Force and the Z2 Play, not necessarily in that order, and now, of course, on the G5 S Plus. And then it's also available on the X4. So the thing about this one, though, is that this is a micro USB phone. Kind of sad, frankly, because the X4, for example, is USB-C. All the Z's are USB-C. So, of course, the G5 Plus, non-S, had micro USB as well. So they're trying to be consistent because this is a mid-ranger. So turbo power charger charges very fast, something like 80% in an hour sort of thing, and or maybe less, 80% in 45 minutes. And then the cable. So nothing much to see here, frankly. You'd expect that. I mean, this is not an expensive, fancy phone, and might be a decent mid-ranger. Let's find out. I mean, I will be playing with this phone for a little while and let you know. So let me give you a quick tour of this phone. First, we're gonna do what we always do with unboxings, which is peel the label. You ready for that sound? Oh yeah, I made that one last, didn't I? There's no peeling on the back. It's all metal. So one of the things about the G5 Plus that I didn't like was that it was mostly metal, but then the edges were plastic. It didn't have a removable back panel, but the back panel was metal. This is full metal, so it's definitely an upgrade on the G5 Plus. It is, after all, called the G5S Plus. It is not IP67, 68 like the X4, but it is splash resistant, like in air quotes, splash resistant. Let's turn it on. We're going to get the little Hello Moto song, I'm sure, in about 1 minute. So let's see what happens. I'm holding at an angle so it doesn't blind the camera, as you can see. Like, look at the background.
Hello, Moto.
There you go. Hello, Moto. Ooh, lots of shiny colors. Yeah, it's the same animation that's on all the Moto Lenovo phones. And Motorola, Lenovo company. Oh, you missed that. But anyway. There we go. Welcome. So that's the... That's it. If you hear the noisy in the background, it's because the restaurant next door is putting their garbage out right now. Fantastic. What a great time. A Saturday afternoon putting the garbage out. So, dual camera system. So this is a dual 13 megapixel f/2.0 camera system. Oh, thank you for all that noise. And it's monochrome on one side, color on the other. So very similar to what we've seen with the Z2 Force, except the Z2 Force has 12 megapixel sensors with larger pixels. This I think is just kind of a generic small pixel size 13 megapixel. Dual color, dual LED flash, pretty much what you expect. This cool little dimple here, so you kind of like put your finger here. It feels like a fingerprint reader, but of course the fingerprint reader is in the front right here. What else is there to say about this camera system? We'll see how it goes. I mean, the dual system on the Z2 Force was nothing to write home about, mostly because it's a flagship phone and it doesn't have OIS. So your mileage may vary, but I'm not going to be too impressed. There's an 8 megapixel f/2.0 lens right here on the front. There's a front flash, which is a common thing on a lot of Moto phones, which is kind of cool. Earpiece, of course. Down here is the fingerprint reader, and as you know, it can be configured for gestures if you don't like using an on-screen software buttons. I personally prefer the on-screen software buttons because I'm kind of like a Nexus Pixel purist, as it were. So there you go. Pretty thin phone, but it's big, right? It's pretty big because it's 5.5 inches across. It's IPS, 1080p. You know, pretty much what you'd expect from this size phone, this price phone in terms of quality. Remember that the G5 Plus was a 5.2 inch phone, so a little smaller. Yeah, in terms of specs, this got a Snapdragon 625. This particular model, as I mentioned at the beginning, has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of built-in storage. It does have micro SD expansion. And so there's a 3 gigabyte 32 gig version that's a little cheaper, and 3000 milliamp hour battery, the same as the X4. Of course the X4 costs $100 more, so I'm not sure people will cross shop it, but it's interesting to me that they're both kind of similar, yet kind of different. So there you go. Right hand side here, you have the volume rocker and a slightly ridged, there's a little bit of texture on that button, power lock key, which is nice. You can feel that you get the right button that way. On the bottom, you have a speaker hole here, and as I said, micro USB, not USB-C. You have a little primary microphone hole here. On top, you have a headphone jack and nothing else. And on the left side here, I believe, is the SIM tray, which is pretty big because it's micro SD. I'm not sure if this is dual SIM and micro SD or combination. Be interesting to find out. So that's the deal. All metal, so it's got, you know, the antenna bands as you'd expect. This is a really nice phone for the money, I have to say. I mean, Moto's done really well this year with their wide variety of price points and models. I think it's a little crowded, their lineup. I think there's too many phones, but they all seem to have their merits. I really haven't find too many faults on any of them, other than, honestly, the disappointed that's been the Z2 Force flagship for me. You've probably heard me talk about this on the podcast. My favorite so far has been the G5 Plus. So this is an improvement over that, so I assume I'll like it a lot. I've also really enjoyed the Z2 Play. I think it's a really great phone for the money. I think I'm going to really like the X4. As I said, I have one, but I can't talk too much about it. And then there was the E4. If you want to go in the $80 range, the E4 is, as I've said, a phone that I could live with. That's how good it is for 80 bucks. And I don't say that lightly. I have played with it extensively and I really liked it. So, Moto G5S Plus, all metal, mid-ranger, big screen, dual camera system, Snapdragon 625 plus 3000 milliamp hour battery means you're going to get a lot of battery life out of this phone. So there you go. Stay tuned for more. And as always, please subscribe to this channel, thumbs up, all that good stuff. I'm going to turn the screen off so we can get back to some semblance of brightness in here. Subscribe, thumbs up. If you want a thumb down, I hate you already, but then do it. I don't care. Don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. This is just to show you the phones I'm talking about on the podcast. So mobiletechpodcast.com, you can go there and find the RSS feed. You can search for Mobile Tech Podcast on iTunes and on Pocket Cast. On Pocket Cast, the shortened URL is MTP, obviously Mobile Tech Podcast, the 3 initials. So you'll find it there. And stay tuned for more videos soon. All right. Cheers, everybody.